What's good, everyone? Today in Matty Mocks, I am going from 4. Who am I going to take 1? Well, the image will tell you that. And joining me will be Matty Malley, my guy. It's Matty's mock. It's a double Matty fiesta as I go from 4 and he'll go from 11. We're going to use fantasy scores to help us out as we draft today. You can use Z-scores to help maximize your draft results. It integrates perfectly into Yahoo. It is a season-long tool. You can find waivers. You can find targets. You can help punt strategies. It is incredibly powerful. It's dynamic. Use promo code INSIGHT to get $5 off the price. Check him out, fantasyscores.com, and check out the pod coming up to you after this.
Should the Spurs foul? Should Miami go for the 3 right away? Just attack the basket. James catches, puts up the 3. Won't go. Rebound box. Back out to Allen. His 3-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
Welcome to the Ultimate Super Coach and Fantasy Sports Show. You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Boom shakalaka!
Oh, I like it when you give me the eyebrows. What's good, everyone? This is at NBAGeeWhiz. You know me as Matty G, and this is my other Matty. The better of the Matties, we like to say, because actually, should we do backwards? Is it backwards caps for Matties tonight? We've got to do a bit of matching.
Yes, mate.
You got the Harley Davidson standard squeeze. I've got the standard squeeze tee on. And Malley, we're doing a mock draft, brother.
I'm going to enjoy myself. The only bad thing about the NBA season starting is no more mock drafts.
Yeah, it's a very limited window we have today. I'm going from 4 in the series. You are going from 11. Let's get to it and let's start sharing our screen and talk about what we are going to do in this draft today. So as you can see on the draft board today, we have Nikola Jokic, number 1, Luka's number 2, Joel's come 3. Number 4 is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who I'm probably going to target at 4. I'm in a bit of a quandary. I don't know whether I should take Shai or Jason Tatum, Matty. I know in a draft that we did the other day, Mick from Insight, he took our good mate Jason Tatum with the 3rd pick. Do you like that, or do you think it's just a clear Shai is the guy?
Yeah, I've pushed Tatum back to 6. I think he just falls back with all their reconstruction there in Boston. I'm a little down on him, and when I say little down, I'm 1 spot down. So I'm a Shai man at the moment, and then I probably Tatum's probably 5 or 6 for me, I reckon.
Because I don't mind how that panned out for him at the end of the day. Like if you look back at that draft that we've done, you can check it out. It was quite a good draft from Mickey Dell. And I was happy with it. But yeah, obviously going off the board, number 1 is Jokic, Lucas 2. Shai has gone 3.
Yikes. That's good. I don't mind that. Just no good for you. There goes your plan.
There goes my plan. Okay, so, okay, well, I'm going to take Tatum. No, I'm going to take Tyrese. No, I'm going to take Tatum. I'm going to take Tatum. I'm going to do the Mick draft. I'm going to try and do a Mick style draft from 4. I was not expecting Shai to go at 3, but I guess that does show you how popular he is going right now, mate.
Yeah, and the door's wide open now for you with Tatum. You can really pivot in any direction you want. He's a punter's dream. Well, I guess in some ways he's a punter's nightmare because he doesn't give you a good punt to start with, but really now you can make your 2nd pick and start to make decisions about what way you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough. Oh, mate, I'm a little bit thrown by that. Where are you looking? You're going at 11 today, or is it 10? You're going from 11, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going for 11. Yep. I see Giannis goes off the board at 8. That makes sense to me. He might have dropped a little bit since Lillard's arrival. Halliburton going at 7 is a little shocking, and Embiid going at 6. Curry moving up the board there. I worry about him, his age, the team's direction. So that wouldn't have been the pick that I would have made, but that's okay. To each their own in this first round, I think.
Can I also be clear that I am not also the punter you can see on screen drafting from 6G? That is definitely not me incognito, just to be fair.
Well, that's a bit upsetting because I've gone and thought Davis is my man, but he's taken off the board. So at 11th, it comes down to a coin toss for me between Durant and Lillard. I haven't really given much thought to Lillard, so I think today, for an experiment, he's going to be my man. So I'm going to take him at 11th, Damian Lillard.
Well, in our league that we did on the weekend, in the Molten League, mate, I ended up taking him at 11, and I actually managed to build a pretty good team out. Maybe, mate, if you can bring up my ESPN team, try and recreate some of those picks and talk it through, maybe that'll give you a bit of a guide, because that was we're in that as mates. So that was a fun draft to do the other day. Going off after him, obviously, was Duran and Edwards at 13. He has just been consensus end of first round, early second round, hasn't he, this whole season?
Yeah, he hasn't really moved at all. It seems to be one of those guys who's pretty solid. I'm actually going to go with Devin Booker as my second pick, the 14th pick there. I think he pairs fairly nicely with Lillard. I go over to my fantasy scores and have a little look at how my team's shaping up. And it's having a panic because I didn't put the right code in, but I know that I'm going to be strong in free throws. My points are going to be nice and juicy. I'm happy with that as a start.
Do you think this season, with me coming up with just Jason Tatum pick, that I've got to be a master of many, because he might lose? I had this conversation with Mickey Dell. He could lose some rebounding to Porzingis. Obviously, Horford is an excellent rebounder. And there's been some interesting picks go off the board. We should talk about these. After you, Jaren Jackson Jr., Kyrie Irving, Sabonis slipping just a tad, only because he's also been in that Anthony Edwards range. So I won't say it's a massive slip, but it's just later than I've seen him go. Cat obviously going there in that's a pick early. Donovan Mitchell and then Tommy is on the clock right now, taking Kawhi Leonard. Now, that is the earliest I've probably seen Kawhi. There is no dispute that the man is a top 25 player, but that does throw me a little bit. I'm probably looking to get I was looking for someone like him. I'm going to probably have to target a point guard early. I'm going to probably take someone like, oh, you know what? I am going to get Fred VanVleet, because I took Trae Young in another draft. I'm going to take Fred over in Houston with a fresh start for him. I've taken Trae Young before, but I like what Fred can do by way of, blocks for me, just because he gets steals and he gets blocks and he gets me some assists. So I'm going to have to make a really interesting call on my third pick to see where I go there. After me, on the clock, we've got old mate Regesh. Regesh is paired up with, here we go. Let's put the draft results in here. Regesh has paired Shea with Bam. Luka has been paired with Trae. And we're back to Greg at the front of the turn right here. He obviously, with the number one pick, took Jokic. Matty, you can't go wrong, can you?
No, not really. I've seen back on your FVV pick, I've just seen him plummet in some of the drafts. So I had a draft the other day, an actual a money draft, and he was somewhere around, it was like the late 30s, and that to me seemed unreal. I've got him picked at about 24, I think, so about where you took him. I just can't see. I don't know if people are panicked about his move over to Houston and the settling there with a pretty deep roster, but I don't know. I don't have any concerns about him. I would still be picking him up in that mid-20 zone.
Yeah, me too. And at this point here, it's pretty much where it's going to go. There is someone who I'm very curious. I wasn't going to go Mikal Bridges, but Mikal Bridges has fallen into my lap.
Yeah,
and at this point in time,
28.
I've got to take him at 28 because I don't want anyone else to get him. So it's not my strategy. This has been a draft where I have not had a strategy work out so far at all. In fact, I was actually looking maybe because of the shortness of assists that I had early on, maybe getting a guy like a Garland into my squad. But that's just obviously gone straight out the window for me because he was taken 2 picks before.
Yeah. So what do we have there? We have you taking Bridges. Just before that in pick 27 was DeJounte Murray, a little early for my liking. I think we saw what he's going to do, and he is removed from the DeJounte Murray of the Spurs. So I've picked up Trae in a couple of drafts this season, and I'm going to put my money on him. He's obviously going to stay to be the number one guy, but I'm a big DeJounte Murray guy. He's my favorite player, and I still won't be touching him there. And then Bane after you at 29, he's been slipping a lot. I remember people early on in the draft, in the mock drafts, people taking him at the early 20s, 21. And he's kind of settling back into a better spot now.
The Doppel Matty, I'm going to call him Doppel G. Doppel G took Victor Wembanyama. Can I just be honest? If you were in a third round right now, he is not slipping out of the third round. He's looked great in the preseason. All the hype train is if you want to put Victor Wembanyama on your team this season, you are going to have to draft Victor probably in the third round. But these are guys now that are coming off the clock. Mark's just taken someone who's possibly first round value in Jimmy Butler. James Harden, with the uncertainty there, has gone off after Victor. LeBron James, Jimmy Butler, Vucevic from Kosat. I love his little umlauts and everything over his name. Thank you very much, Kosat. Kosat. And Matty, it's you.
Well, I'm looking at picking Paul George at this spot. I think that pick 35's about perfect for him. I think that mitigates a little bit of the risk. I think that even if Harden does turn up over there, that he's still going to do Paul George things. He'll obviously lose a few of his assists, but that's not his game. His free throw percentage is wonderful. He gets to the line plenty. So with Booker and Lillard, I'm looking reasonably unstoppable in that spot. And now I can start to turn my focus to other things. I have to make a decision now with my fourth pick if I'm going to try and save my rebounds or just let them go completely. I see Miles Turner there, but he's not a big rebounds guy. It feels a little early, but he's just going to fit the build beautifully, and I'm going to pick up Kristaps Porzingis. I'm not worried about his role now. I just have a bit more confidence in him. With with Rob Williams moving over to Portland, I think that the whole question about how does he fit with Rob, and I think that problem's kind of solved itself now. So, barring any injury, I think Kristaps said about that 40th pick feels pretty good to me, and we know when he's healthy that he can be a top 2025 guy. So I'm feeling all right about that.
I am too for you. I like that pick. I think when you start to see him fall to the fourth round, it mitigates some of that risk. He's looked good in Boston. I love what I'm seeing there. He's going to get his touches. He's not going to have the 27% usage he had in Washington last year because that was also driven up by injuries to Beal. So we can't expect the season best injury. But I've just been decimated. So I hope everyone just go back and grab this back 30 seconds and then watch it. Because you can just see that I was thinking, Miles, OG's gone, Jordan Poole's gone, Cade's gone, which has just left one guy here for me, and it's Chet Holmgren. I think he has looked absolutely phenomenal. He is possibly rookie of the year potential stuff for me. I have to take him there because he is not coming back because Claxton was one of the other picks that I'm looking at in this fourth round. So you kind of, when you move to the middle of the draft, Matty, in towards like the 5 to 6s, that's kind of that tipping point where people are like, oh, geez, I don't want to let him go so much. You know what I mean? Like there seems to be a bit of anxiety around guys there. I'm probably needing another point guard. I've been high on Maxey for a little bit. I am going to put Scotty Barnes. Oh no, that's DeMar DeRozan. I'm going to put Scotty, but I like Jalen Brunson. I like what he brings me. He doesn't give me a lot of steals, but he's very good for my 3-4 percentage. But I've also been looking at Tyrese Maxey because Anthony Simon's going at 49, Jaylen Brown at 48, Randall at 47. It might be giving me a layup. I just keep on getting Tyrese Maxey in drafts. Like Jesus, it's Tyrese Maxey.
There goes Brunson, so that helps your decision-making process.
It does. And Şengün looked excellent today. It was only the first day of the preseason, but he got a couple of block shots. So hello defensive stats for Alper and Şengün. I got Chet. He's in power forward. I'm going to target some centers. I'm going to fill up that last guard spot with one Tyrese Maxey, who looked fresh out the box, brand new toy yesterday in his first preseason outing. Jamal Murray, Drew Holiday at 53. I don't like that this season, Matty.
Yeah, I think that's the top of his peak. That's where he's going to peak out. I don't think he's going to get around the 53rd mark. Back to your pick before Maxey with Holmgren. I took Holmgren at exactly the same place you did in one of my legitimate drafts the other day at 45. Yep. And the other thing outside of drafting, one thing that I enjoy doing in the fantasy basketball landscape is trading. So I've had a lot of people knocking at the door asking about what my plans are with Chet for this season already. Must have been after his Stella game the other day, and he's playing less than 20 minutes, putting up 20 points and having himself a game. So if you love trading, pick up Chet. People like him.
Yeah, I think that's the thing we probably don't talk about enough. It's like, grab some tradable dudes. Grab some trade guys. Like, grab some assets who've got hype that you can get a preseason return for. So if you've got one of these drafts that's happening right now, like this weekend coming up, so we're coming up to the weekend of the 13th, 14th of October. If you're coming up those weekends, like before the preseason finishes, you can grab some of those tasty little dudes like Scotty Barnes, for example. Mark just ripped him off. A guy like Tyler Hero put up numbers today in the preseason. What's Tyler Hero's role going to be in Miami after the uncertainty? So you can kind of eke out some value trade-wise on guys.
Yeah. I took Jalen Williams, the good one, at the 59th pick. I'm looking at my team. I'm thinking I'm going to need some defensive stats now. I know that Paul George is a good steals guy. I know that Porzingis is a good blocks guy. I'm picking up Williams because, one, I think with George and Porzingis, I've taken a little bit of a risk. I know that they can be difficult. Oh, God, I'm going again. Hold the phone. Oh, this will be a bit of a panic purchase, but I'm going to take. I'm over here talking, there's powering through. I'm going to take Devin Vassell. But back to
you
my...
love Vassell. You love Vassell.
Oh, I do, yeah. That's a homer. Back to my Williams choice and my justification. I like his dual eligibility as well. He can play the guard and forward position. He's going to get me some defensive stats. He's young. He's on an exciting team. And I think as far as fitness goes and an ability to play as many games in the season as possible next to bigger risks that I've taken in George and Porzingis, I think I just need to steady the bow. I need to steady the ship at the moment.
Sorry, I'm being silent because I know I'm just going to get fucked over again. You know that feeling where you just be like, yeah, I've just done it. I think I've got two guys who I want to pivot into nicely. I like Cam Johnson. Picking up Cam Johnson in the 60s for me, I think it's solid value. He gets me some steals. He's an excellent shooter. He helps out what I'm getting. It's me. But now I'm faced with an interesting decision because I know this bastard after me has taken guys who I've had my eye on. I've also got my eye now on Zion.
Ragesh has your number.
He does. I probably need – look, the eligibility from Giddey is going to do it for me right now. And I haven't drafted Josh Giddey all pre-season. I have not drafted him once yet. But, look, I just want to get Giddey on my team. He gives me the rebounds I need. He gives me the assists that I need. He gives me some playmaking. And I like what's there. And I'm going to leave Cam Johnson in my list and see what I can do there.
Yeah, let's see what Ragesh will pick. I can bet you bottom dollar that he's looking at Cam Johnson right now. Oh, he picks Zion Williams. And that's perfect at 70. Good on him.
That's fine.
That's just money. Giddey's triple eligibility too. That's so delicious.
That. Absolutely love that.
You can only see three players who have that. Him, Franz Wagner, and Paul George, the three guys. One of the guys I picked as well. So that can never hurt you, especially on those tight weeks, those big, 14-game days. That's where it's going to really play off. You can stick him in anywhere.
Not a problem. Mate, talk it on through for me. I'm nervous. It's about to happen. 3 picks to my turn. I've got Franz Wagner in my queue as my backup. Kyle Kuzma was someone else that I was looking at right there. Buddy Hield, not being the starter, seems to have gone off the block. Draymond Green, Zion, I think I might be lucky here. I think this might be a little turning into Matty's lucky day situation because, look, I'm looking at these guys. Look, Franz does get me probably some more assists than that. I'm very low on assists right now, so I'm going to have to target some of them later. Probably a later round target for some assists and point guard, someone like Trey Jones down the line. That might be a bit of a homer for you. But look, Chris Paul is still on the board. I picked up like in the hundreds the other day for him, like in the early hundreds.
I'm just saying your mortal enemy Ragesh just picked him up at 75, so that leaves you wide open for any of those three guys. I think, and you've made the decision to go with Cam Johnson, and I probably would have gone the same direction. But if you're choosing between him, Franz, and who was the other one you were thinking about? Another
someone
small
like Chris
forward.
Another small forward. I was probably looking down.
No, you had someone else on that list. I need to play it back. But I think the three guys you were talking about were
Oh no, I had
all
Giddy. I took Giddy. Yeah.
yeah, no, someone else you had. Anyway, they're all three of the guys you were talking about were all the 1 or 1A offensive option. They're all young. They're all exciting. They're on teams that they're going to have opportunities and hopefully not be detrimental to you in the latter part of the season when we start to move into shutdown territory. I guess there's always that kind of fear with Franz and possibly with Cam Johnson as well. But I think you made the right decision.
Yeah, look, I do hope so. There is someone who I'm targeting on my board right now who hasn't gone off, and I know now with Clint Capella going off, it's Onyeka Okongwu. I'm calling Derek White this season. I'm calling him collateral damage Derek because of him slipping down. He was, I guess, on the hype train very early for a lot of people this season. And obviously with the trades that have sent him over, has sent True Holiday to Boston. That early season return for Mr. White it's long gone, isn't it? That ship has sailed, man.
Yeah, I think so. He's I wasn't, to be fair, that excited about him when the going was good, and now I have even less of a reason. And I'm quite happy that you guys have all passed on Franz Wagner because I'm going to pick him up. Again, he fits my build perfectly. I'd love him to get to the line a little bit more, and maybe a couple of seasons in now, he has the confidence to do that. I've got two dudes for triple eligibility, so I'm covering all my bases there. He scores, he hits some threes. That's probably the other thing he needs to do a bit more of. He'll handle the ball. He gets some assists. He gets rebounds because he's well tall. I don't know how tall Franz is. Not as tall as his brother, but up there. And now I'm back around again to make another decision. It's given me problems. I'm going to go and pick Mark Williams. Yep, Mark Williams is my man there.
Yeah, he's just gone out of my queue.
See, I heard the little ding dong. I knew that I've upset you. Maybe I'm going to be on your naughty list with Ragish in a minute. But yeah, love Mark Williams. Obviously, it's a bit of a disaster for him in the fantasy playoffs with only 2 games. But as my 8th pick, I'm not really worried about that. I can't see that being a turning point. Again, he gives me some youth. Hopefully, he gives me some stability and to balance out some of my older guys. Might give me a few more blocks to complement Porzingis as well. What are you thinking now, Matty? With your 93rd?
Trey Jones. My guards don't do a lot of. They get a lot of points, but they're not high in assists. But Trey Jones is a playmaker. He gets me steals. He's going to put us some points. He could probably have a better 3-point ratio, but right now I just need to feed that a little bit. Guys who I was targeting, like Ja Morant around, I always said to myself, if I can get Ja Morant at pick 100 or after, I'm laughing. I happen to have the 100th pick in this draft. So if he was there, I was going to do that. Wiggins going at 90 for me is not much of a muchness. I've taken Trey Jones, Chris Middleton, safe as houses Middleton, Ja Morant, Wiggins, Fultz was someone else I was looking at. Terry Rozier I was looking at. The Hornets just seem to be clicking back on all cylinders like they once did.
Yeah. And
obviously they're awaiting the return of Miles Bridges from his suspension. CJ McCollum, I like Mark Williams. I am looking at another center right now. I had Williams and Jalen Duren in my queue around here, probably to feed that a little bit more. I probably need some blocks, but I need assists and steals. I said at the beginning of the draft, that's what I was going to lead into and try and get. And I just haven't gone that way with how it's broken.
Can you see anyone on our impending picks who you think it has fallen and should be a bit of a steal? Don't know if they work for either of us, but there's a guy sitting there that I think should not be here at pick 98. Have a look at that list and you tell me who you think it might be thinking about.
I'm looking maybe Wendell Carter Jr. I'm talking Robert Williams. If I need block shots, I am talking guys like probably Miles Bridges as well, who I just mentioned, Bruce Brown. Oh, and I just took Tobias Harris by accident. Oh, no, that was someone else. Good. It's my turn to draft.
You're on now.
And what about Daniel Gafford? Oh, he's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, he went. People aren't worried about his injury scare now. He was all good again. He was just trying to freak us out and push himself down the board a little bit.
Yeah,
who'd you go there? Was that
I've taken Wendell Carter Jr. He looked great in the preseason. Yeah, I took Wendell. He looked great in the preseason today. He gets me my rebounds.
Yeah,
he gets me my points. Top scorer in the game. He's a great fit beside Paolo, and he's been a decent player. Like he is really one of the guys who's come out of that trade very well.
He
And I
had
haven't taken him all year.
he had plantar fasciitis last year, didn't he? I wonder if that, because that has I'm not a doctor, but that has a history of coming back around. It's a bit of the herpes of the foot world, isn't it? Where you just think you got rid of it and then it comes back. Are you not worried about that with him?
Going to have to see how it plays out. Look, it's a 2-center league that we're drafting in right now. And again, if you are in a 2-center league, talk to your commissioner and try and get that changed. You should be in a 1-center league at all times. So I'm taking him. I've got guys who are eligible for center like Chet Holmgren right there as well. So look, I'm just going to do my best and see where it goes on this next one. This is me also experimenting with guys that I've never taken before, mate. Like I'm looking at guys down here in the center region and I'm kind of turning into this bigs build. I could get guys like John Collins down the way, even getting Yusuf Nurkic if he's still around when he comes back to me. It could be useful. Not Collins, sorry, Zach Collins.
Phoenix today.
Yeah, like he fits in the system. Like he's gone in there straight away, and it looks like it's going to do things that it would.
He knows he doesn't have to do too much there.
Yeah, he can just do his role and get in there. And I think he was leaned on in Portland way too much for way too long. To be fair, like I think after CJ went out the door and they started their new reshaping of the team, I think he's had to do some heavy lifting for way too long. There is one guy now, though, who fits my build who's going to get in there. And I'm going to say his name. And I don't know if you're looking at him, but I'm looking at Ben Simmons if he's still available when he comes back to me.
No, you can have Ben. He's all yours. I'm still looking at the guy I'm about to
Who is this guy? Who is this mystery guy?
Austin Reeves, mate. 107. Am I delusional? Like, it's not a huge deal at 107. Like, this guy could be, depending on LeBron's age, health, all the other things, he could be like the top scorer on this team. You know, like he could be the number one. I mean, obviously with AD there as well, but AD has to play both ends. Is that silly business or?
No, I love Austin Reeves. He doesn't fit my build, so I wasn't looking at him. I've already filled those positions for me, so he probably wasn't on my radar. So when you're asking me who I'm looking for, I went for those bigs who I was looking at. Now, this is interesting.
Now, you've got to help me out here. I'm turning to your expertise here. Yusuf Nurkic or Zach Collins for my team here to fill my second center spot. What do you reckon?
I have 11 seconds to answer this question. Go with Nurk.
Counting.
Actually, no, Collins. Go Collins. Yeah,
that was close.
They're both in my queue. I recommend both of them in that position. Oh, and there goes Nurk. Ivy going as well. This is getting very interesting and competitive. There is one guy who I love, though, who is still on here. I haven't managed to pick him up. And God help me. Thank God Ragesh can't get him before me. Done, you Ragesh. I love Bruce Brown. Yeah. I love him.
He's a Swiss Army knife guy, isn't he? He does a bit of everything.
He really
I
is.
like him too.
But look, there we go. We mentioned it before. Ben Simmons went at the turn. So that was a guy I was thinking he's still around the 117s. He's going between like 105 now and 120. So here I was holding on, like just white knuckle racing. Like if he's going at 120, maybe I can get him at 117.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. Asua Thompson. I don't know if you heard the pod today with Mitch Casey from Ball Boys Fantasy. Shout out to Mitch. Top bloke. And we talked about Asua Thompson. He's getting incredibly comfortable with taking Asua in the 110 zone. And that's where Bass is going right now in this draft.
He played about 75 minutes the other day.
He did.
And fed him in that preseason game.
And Bruce Brown went. So now I am absolutely up the duff again, which is absolutely fantastic. I am going to take the other Collins that I mentioned. No, he's gone. Jeez. Oh, no.
Yeah, he's gone, mate.
I needed points, didn't I? I needed points. I'm going to get in Filipino legend Jordan Clarkson.
Yep. He went 1 of 10 today, but he'll warm up. He's a shooter. He'll be streaky. He'll and I think he's back to playing that 6-man role. I think it's a role that he's quite happy in. He won't have a tanny like Buddy Hield. I think he's very happy to be the 6-man. He's a scoring punch. Speaking of that, I actually got THT today because I've just noticed in the 2 preseason games that he's had a lot of really high usage, and I guess with Colin Sexton being not the world's best assists man, it's really the ball's been in Taylor Horton Tucker's hand a lot. So he was sitting on one of my waivers today, and I just nabbed him up.
Now, this is where
Maybe
I'm
in our
curious.
league, I don't know.
It could be. I have to look. I've actually cooked my field goal percentage entirely, but my free throw percentage is pretty strong. I'm looking good now in assists. I think I'm not all the way in. I probably need some more rebounds, steals, and blocks. So if I'm looking at steals, when it comes back to me, who am I going to probably pick up?
You got how about Shaden Sharp?
Well, I'm looking at him, but what about Herb Jones in the interim? So I'm looking at like a Herb Jones, like someone like that, like KCP
He's
is
just a
way
bit
too
empty
OP.
across. He just seems like a streamer guy to me, especially when he's going to get out of that starting unit as soon as injuries have solved themselves there.
I do need rebounds and blocks. Look, I am going to take Shaden Sharp. I do like his upside, and I think if he has a couple of explosive ones, his trade bait for me too.
Yeah. I think that's perfect. 124 for him.
Yeah.
And you can sit and wait. I also think he's a guy that if he doesn't take off when you need him to take off, and being a guard, that might take a little longer into the season, you can just throw him back into the pond and someone else can have a go at him, and you won't have any nerves about doing that or regrets that you're going to come and someone else is going to pick him up and beat your team with him later on.
Do you think our friend Regesh calls them regrets? If he has any?
I think, where is Regesh? Is he still around?
Regesh is still around.
We should see what his team looks like.
Let's have a look at Regesh. Team Regesh. Let's have a little bit of a deep dive on
Regesh doing.
Because
I'm just going to try.
Shea. He took Shea, DeJounte, Chris Paul, Josh Hart. So he's lent in heavy to assist. You can tell right there. Rebounds: Hart, Williamson, Gafford, Adebayo, Claxton, Şengün, Brogdon, and Gordon. Not shaping out bad for our old mate Regesh. Matt, looking at your team, you've got Lillard, Booker, George, Jalen Williams, Kristaps, Devin Vassell, Mark Williams, Zach Collins, Franz Wagner, the Wish Kid, Austin Reeves, and Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, I don't feel great about that, but he's going to get minutes. I don't know. Let's not dwell too much on Dennis Schroeder, the FIBA MVP.
Yeah, look, I'm probably looking now.
Getting any other awards this year?
I'm really looking right now probably to pick up a guy like Herb Jones. On my way back around, I've got 2 rounds to go here. Herb Jones is going to be the Herbert, or we could call him Herbie the Love Bug, is obviously going to be the starter there for now over in New Orleans. He's looked decent in the preseason here. Look, I like Herb Jones. I like him to start the season. I like him as a player. I think Trey Murphy's ascendance last year took away from what he could do, technically speaking, only by way of if he's out there, you don't need a guy like Herb Jones out there as much. A healthy Zion Williamson impacts the whole team. It impacts the whole ripples. But we might see the New Orleans Pelicans that we wanted to see last year magically appear in the NBA this season. So Herb about now, he gets me steals, he gets me points, he gets me threes, he gets me rebounds, but he gets me the steals that I need. And he does it he helps my free throw percentage, which is also quite excellent, but my field goal percentage is out the door. My field goal, I'm not winning field goal percentage any week, so I don't think I'm the team.
Yeah, we're in part of the draft now where you've got to wave goodbye to that completely. I picked up Tari Eason. I know he tweaked his ankle today. Smith or somebody, some behemoth landed on the back of his heel and he limped off, but hopefully he'll be okay. Again, we're just in upside territory. There's a chance that he gets 12 minutes a game and he's just drowns in a deep Houston roster. But I'm going to cross my fingers, eyes, and toes and hope that things play out for him, because I just think he's too good to leave on the waiver wire for someone else to pick up later on.
No, that's very true. And I'm actually kind of doing that right now in my league. And I'm going to look to trade probably for a center. Because again, I always draft off the premise of 1 center leagues. I probably shouldn't do it in mocks as much, but I just know that there's some out there that exists. But there's a guy right now who I could just put straight on my block. I'll type him into my queue and he's still around in my draft. Steven Adams, there we go. He's gone. This one, Herb Jones, there we go. He's gone. So I guess I'm drafting. So Steven Adams has gone off as I was looking at him this draft.
Make sure you consider with this pick, who is Regesh going to want, because he's one pick after you this round. So it'd be nice if you could stitch Regesh up. Maybe
I'm
that
gonna
could be the title of this podcast.
Stitch Regesha. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
No, look,
How do you think that'd be?
yeah, he did. Toppin's gone, my guy. Toppin. Greg has become Greg. He might be a listener. He might listen to Matty G from the podcast network. Loving that guy. I'm probably looking now. I am not going to take a flyer. I don't know if I should take a flyer because I just took my flyer the round before, but I could probably do myself a really serviceable job on rebounds to lock those downs. And the guy I'm probably going to look at is someone who, again, so what I've built this draft around at the end is what do I need to complement? Because I think I actually look pretty strong across the board with where I've gone. I've got some upside guys with Trey Jones, Shaden Sharp. So I've got some spicy ones. I actually don't mind my team so much. I'm going to go Kevin Looney just to shore up my rebounds and my field goal percentage because I have it. It sucks. And it's not an upside pick. But sometimes if you've got an upside in your second last pick, you don't need to always shoot for the fences. Look at who's gone off the board here. Cam Payne, Norm Powell, Kevin Looney, KCP. I know we always talk, Matty, about flyers in your last round. Do you need to take a flyer in the last round, or can you take flyers through your draft if you draft up to get the value you want?
Yeah, I think you can probably end up playing it safe, especially in a 12-team league like we're in now, where if you make a mistake, there's still plenty of guys on the waiver for later on for you to rectify your errors. So I think when we're getting, we play in a 16-man comp, I play in a 20. I know you do too. When you start getting into that territory, it might be, when you're in this range, you probably have to have some more serious thought about the right now and about the future. But I think with a waiver wire this deep, you're probably pretty safe. I'm going to, with my last pick, I'm putting bets on both sides here.
Quentin
I'm going to pick
Quentin Grimes. Jeremy
there's too many dudes there. Thompson. And the reason why is because he and Eason both can't get the minutes this season. So I'm kind of I'm doubling up, and I'm putting myself in a position that if one fails, I can keep the other one, knowing that at this point one of those guys is going to end back up here on the waiver wire pretty soon. I love to play the waivers. I use all 5 or 6 of my waiver pickups each week because you're obviously getting in potentially an extra 5 games there with those 6 pickups if you can play it right and pick them up at the right time and drop them at the right time. Get those good back-to-backs. And I know that I can keep Eason or Thompson after a few weeks, see what happens, and the other one can just go back out into the ocean.
This was a really
interesting, mate.
Mate, I brought yours up first, Matty. I was going to have you talk through. Let's talk through yours.
Right.
Yeah, yours is on the board.
Okay, so I have myself with my first pick and slotting nicely into that first spot with Damian Lillard. I'm pretty happy with him at 11th. He's obviously setting me up very early on for excellent. He's a 900s man for free throw percentage. So I started that off really strong. I followed it up with who could potentially this year be the number 1 option in a stacked Phoenix team with Devin Booker. I think they're obviously going for a title, and they're going for a title hard. So he's going to play, and he's going to play hard. He's got a good support crew there. His field goal percentage is not terrible. His free throw percentage is strong. Points are strong as well. So I'm off. I've got 2 guys in my first 2 picks who are potential, 40-point a night scorers. I then picked up Paul George. We always have injury concerns with him and how much he's going to play, but the triple eligibility, the steals, again, the points, the 3-pointers, he's kind of elite, and he has been for a long time. Then I've got Jalen Williams. The reason I took him was because I thought I took a bit of a gamble with the 2 guys before him in George and Porzingis, with their health, their age, Porzingis being on a new team, George, potentially having Harden next to him at any point in time and suffering statistically because of that. Porzingis was there. Not much to say about him. Strong, and we know what he can do. I took Vassell, bit of a homer. I'm hoping that this is his breakout year. He just got that big money. He is, at the moment, the highest paid player for the Spurs. And hopefully he can do as his paycheck kind of, requires of him. Mark Williams, solid, happy with the position. I got him in that 70s, 80s, wherever I picked him up. Zach Collins, you helped me make that pick after me nearly auto-drafting. Franz Wagner, again, triple eligibility, young. He's the number one option there in Orlando. He's a bit of we talked about, what's his name? Who's a Swiss Army knife that we're talking about for Indiana?
Brucey Brown.
Brucey Brown. Yes, Bruce Brown. Brucey.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's kind of like a Bruce Brown on steroids. Austin Reeves, again, I didn't need him, but picking him up, the north side of 100 at 108 or 7 or whatever, I picked him up. That seemed like a no-brainer. Dennis Schroeder, don't know why I did that. Maybe because he got an MVP trophy. And then I've already explained my Easton and Thompson pick. Tell me about your team.
Matt, let me go up to it right here. This is the one that I was interested to just fly with today. It didn't go my way straight off the bat. So obviously you can see, and also this is the weird thing here. Obviously Kevin Looney, I don't know why he's a power forward. Like they roll him out as the starting center on the team. So I probably
does he not have center eligibility?
Not have a center eligibility, funnily enough, on Yahoo right now. I'm gonna have to at Dan Titus about this one. Hey Dan, cough, just help me. Cough, get it out there. Mate, I'll have to talk about. Look, I off the bat today was absolutely thrown. In pick 4, I was pretty much banking on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The only time that I've seen Shai go elsewhere on that one was when he's gone third. Or second once. I've seen him go second once, which I thought was just almost insanity over Luka, to be fair, especially because I don't think we're going to see a 40, 50 point game as much as we will see those kind of games that really blow off and stand off your stats sheet at the end of a week, like you do with Luka, from someone like Shai. Shai is an incredibly efficient, great team player. He's now got Chet in town. It's going to be an amazing thing to watch OKC basketball this season. Like they are an absolute league pass team for me. So I've gone with Jason Tatum. Again, he's a Swiss Army knife kind of guy. His field goal efficiency isn't that great, but he has very good free throws. He's going to get me points and threes. So I went into that very early to see what I could sort out from there. So I picked up guys along the way, like Mikal Bridges fell to me in the 3rd round. Very happy with that one. Leaves me some
no-brainer.
And a good thing here is then, you can see that the Yahoo projections is at 95 steals a game for the season, But this is also a guy who we're traditionally used to being more defensive. So we know that's probably not going to be the same return that we see from him in defense in Brooklyn that we saw in Phoenix, because he has to have more of the offensive workload there. Fred in my 2nd round. Tyrese Maxey was a nice pickup, I think. I really like that. I picked up Chet Holmgren. I picked a bit of an OKC stack there with Josh Giddey, Wendell Carter Jr., a bit of a Brooklyn, I've got a couple of double plays going on. Cam Johnson as well. I took Trey Jones. I just like where Trey's going in drafts right now. He looks comfortable. He looks confident. There needs to be a point guard at the end of the day in San Antonio to run that offense. We know a pop system is an efficient basketball system. It's a team system. And a guy like Trey Jones fits perfectly into Pop's mentality. And I think he's going to return you value on wherever you draft him in your leagues, especially if it's as late as I got him today. Where did I draft him? 93. I think he has every chance of being a top 80, top 75 player at the end of the day. So if I'm getting at 93, 1 or eking out 2 extra rounds of value there, quite happy to do so. Jordan Clarkson was the one that I wasn't sure on. I needed points. Look, he's going to get him. He doesn't hurt that free throw percentage, and he leans into that punting field goal percentage entirely because the man's never met a shot he doesn't just simply fall in love with on its first date. Shaden Sharp, Jalen Johnson. So here's some upside, and Kevin Looney. So this is kind of an upside draft that I've built around safely. Probably a little bit weaker than I would like in maybe some steals and points at the end of the day, but generally not a bad faring team, and also a very interesting trade baity team. Because I've got this dual eligibility on Chet, who can roll into my 2nd center spot. I definitely want to use some guys who are tasty, like Shaden Sharp here, to return me some value. If Cam Johnson puts up another big preseason numbers game, like he did in the first one, like in the one yesterday with Brooklyn, and I start to go to him in Brooklyn, that is a very interesting trade piece. So I guess this one for us is this is a preseason draft. use these guys to get value back on, I think is one of my things, Matty.
Yeah, I think so too. And that all depends on your league. There's some leagues that are just crickets where, you go from game one to the final and no one's spoken, no one's traded. I love playing in leagues that have active trades. I mean, the basketball is so secondary for me, outside of the drafting, outside of the trading. That's all the good gear that I like to do. Yeah. And then I just watch the basketball games for fun after that. But yeah, I think you're right. If you get a few of those guys that fall and you think, look, you don't really fit my system, you're probably too good at what you do to sit in my team, leaking, whatever you have, rebound, steals, whatever your strength is, that's where you take those guys. You wait for them to have those couple of good games. If you've got a bit of a golden tongue, like it sounds you do, Matty G, you might be able to whisper in a few ears and convince a few people. And that's where you take your team from strength to strength,
And I think, I saw you shirtless before this draft. Let's not lie. You came into the studio not wearing a shirt before you put on the Harley Davidson and the standard squeeze hat this evening. And I was like, look, what do you want me to, who do you want from me on my team in our ESPN league? You can have them, Matty, just take the shirt off again. So, I may have the golden tongue, but you've got the golden pectoral muscles, my friend. And I think we've Shucks. I think we had a bit of fun with it. Matty, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Standard Squeeze. Of course, don't forget that you can drink responsibly, drink conveniently, and drink with Standard Squeeze. Matty is repping the hat. I'm repping the tee. So not only do they have great apparel that you can check out, it's great gear, isn't it? And they've got the slim cups now. I gave my missus one of the brand new slim portable cups. Takes your coffee, your wine on the run.
I did the same thing.
You did the same thing. The missus loves it.
Yeah, we got to start. We got to start paying them off for dipping out all the time to do podcasts, mate. So Standard Squeeze are definitely looking after us there.
Thank you very much to Ash and the team there. Make sure you check out their range. Use promo code INSIGHT15. Get yourself 15% off. And talk to our guy, Ryan, at Astute Newstead. Now, Ryan is an absolute king when it comes to helping you out with your financial needs. I know you're a Queensland bloke, but he actually does it nationwide, Matty. So he's based in Brisbane, but he helps people out nationwide. He specializes in residential home loans with over 50 lenders on a panel, including all the major banks. The best part is he does not charge a fee like other brokers. They offer personal, vehicle, business loans, but they do specialize in home loans. So if you've ever had your dream home on your mind, or if you're looking, if the interest rates are too high, or if you wonder if you can ever afford it, chat to Ryan on 0431 766 784. That's 0431 766 784, or email him at ryanh@eganwealth.com. That's ryanh@eganwealth.com, and use code INSIGHT to let him know we've sent you, and he'll hook you up just a little bit extra and do everything in his power. Matty, thank you so much for joining me for tonight, brother.
Oh, always a pleasure, never a chore, mate.
Matty, you take care of yourself. This has been an Insight NBA podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Give us 5-star, all the ratings, and take care. Peace all.